You feel it, don't you? That hollow echo in your chest when your daily efforts seem to vanish into thin air. It's the quiet hum of meaninglessness that can creep into even the most dedicated lives, leaving you questioning the very point of it all. Most people believe that success is simply a matter of trying harder, of pushing through with sheer willpower. They imagine a straight line from effort to outcome, a direct correlation between the hours logged and the results achieved. But the reality is far more nuanced, and frankly, much more disappointing for those who rely solely on brute force. Consider the vast landscape of unfinished projects, abandoned dreams, and once passionate pursuits that now gather dust in the corners of people's lives. We see brilliant individuals with immense potential who, for reasons they often cannot articulate, fizzle out. They don't lack intelligence or even initial motivation. They lack a deeper, more resilient engine that keeps them going when the initial spark fades. Research consistently shows that simply possessing talent or high intelligence is not a reliable predictor of long-term success or fulfillment. In fact, a significant body of work points to a different, more profound factor that separates those who achieve extraordinary things from those who remain stuck in a cycle of frustration. This factor is not about being the smartest or the strongest, but about having a profound connection to why you are doing what you are doing. Imagine a young woman named Anya, a gifted musician with a voice that could move mountains. She practiced for hours every day, her fingers dancing across the piano keys with effortless grace. She won competitions, received accolades, and was widely predicted to become a world-renowned artist. Yet by her late 20s, Anya had largely retreated from the public eye, her musical career a faint whisper of what it once promised to be. When asked about her departure from the spotlight, Anya's response was not about burnout or a lack of passion for music itself. Instead, she spoke of a growing disconnect. Her early performances were driven by a desire to share the beauty she found in music, to connect with others on an emotional level, and to bring a sense of wonder to her audience. But as her career progressed, the focus shifted. Performances became obligations, practice became a chore, and the audience's expectations felt like a suffocating weight. The joy, the profound sense of purpose that had once fueled her, began to wane. This isn't an isolated story. We see it in countless fields. The entrepreneur who starts a business with a burning vision for innovation, only to become bogged down in administrative tasks and market pressures, eventually losing sight of the original mission. The dedicated teacher who entered the profession to inspire young minds, but finds themselves overwhelmed by bureaucracy and budget cuts, their initial passion eroded by systemic challenges. The critical element missing in these scenarios, the invisible force that propels some forward while leaving others behind, is a deeply ingrained sense of purpose. It's not just about having goals. It's about understanding the profound why behind those goals, a why that resonates with your core values and contributes to something larger than yourself. This is where the science truly begins to illuminate the path. For years, researchers have grappled with understanding the enduring qualities of high achievers. They've dissected personality traits, analyzed cognitive abilities, and explored environmental factors, but a complete picture remained elusive. It was as if a crucial piece of the puzzle was missing, a vital ingredient that explained why some individuals could navigate immense adversity while others faltered at the first significant hurdle. A groundbreaking study, published in the Journal of Pediatric Pharmacology and Therapeutics in 2020 by J. Kane and his colleagues, began to shed a brilliant light on this very mystery. Their work, titled Reading the Story Behind Success, wasn't focused on adult prodigies or seasoned professionals. Instead, they turned their attention to a younger demographic, observing how children navigated challenges and developed resilience. What they discovered was profound. It wasn't just about how hard these children tried. It was about why they were trying. They found that children who possessed a strong sense of purpose, who understood how their efforts contributed to a meaningful outcome, exhibited significantly greater perseverance. This sense of purpose acted as a powerful buffer against setbacks, a guiding star that kept them focused even when the immediate rewards were unclear or the effort felt immense. The researchers noticed a distinct difference in how children approached tasks when they understood the larger context. If a child was learning a new skill, for instance, and understood how that skill would help them achieve a personal goal, like building a specific toy or helping a family member, their commitment and effort levels were dramatically higher. It was as if the abstract concept of learning transformed into a concrete, desirable future state. This study wasn't just about academic achievement. It explored how children tackled physical challenges, social obstacles, and creative endeavors. In every domain, the presence of a discernible purpose acted as a catalyst for sustained effort and a deeper engagement with the task at hand. The children who could articulate a meaningful reason for their actions were the ones who bounced back from failure more quickly, who sought out challenges rather than avoiding them, and who ultimately achieved a greater sense of accomplishment. The implications of this research are staggering, especially when we consider the adult experience. How often do we find ourselves engaged in activities that feel disconnected from any larger meaning? We go through the motions, ticking boxes and meeting deadlines, but the internal fire that once propelled us has dwindled. This is precisely why so many people struggle with sustained motivation and ultimately fall short of their potential. The science suggests that our brains are wired to seek meaning. When that meaning is absent, our motivation naturally wanes. It's like trying to run a marathon without a destination in mind. You might put one foot in front of the other for a while, but eventually, the lack of direction will lead to exhaustion and a loss of will. Kane's research offers a powerful framework for understanding this phenomenon. It suggests that grit, often lauded as the key to success, is not merely a trait of unyielding determination. True, sustainable grit is deeply intertwined with purpose. It is the manifestation of a deep-seated belief in the value of one's efforts, a conviction that what you are doing matters. Think of it like this. Imagine you are building a magnificent sandcastle on the beach. If your sole objective is to pile sand, you will eventually get bored and wander off. But if your purpose is to build a castle that will withstand the tide, a castle that will delight your younger siblings, or a castle that represents a powerful symbol of imagination, your approach changes entirely. You become more thoughtful, more resilient to the waves that wash away your progress, and more committed to the intricate details. The purpose transforms the task from a mindless chore into a meaningful endeavor. The study highlights that this sense of purpose isn't necessarily about saving the world or achieving global recognition. It can be deeply personal and intimate. It's about understanding how your actions contribute to your own growth, to the well-being of your loved ones, or to the improvement of your immediate community. The scale of the purpose matters less than its authenticity and its connection to your inner values. The danger, as this research implies, is that we often fall into the trap of pursuing activities for their own sake, or for external validation, without a clear understanding of their deeper significance. We might chase promotions, accumulate wealth, or gain social status, but if these pursuits are not aligned with our core values and a sense of meaningful contribution, they will ultimately leave us feeling empty. This is where the common understanding of perseverance often falters. People believe that if they just try harder, if they just endure the discomfort, they will eventually succeed. But this approach often leads to burnout and disillusionment. It's like trying to fuel a car with water. No matter how much you pour in, it simply won't run efficiently. You need the right kind of fuel, and in this case, that fuel is purpose. The scientists in this study observed that children who had a clear purpose were more likely to engage in deliberate practice. They weren't just repeating actions. They were actively seeking feedback, identifying areas for improvement, and making conscious adjustments to enhance their performance. This purposeful engagement is what leads to genuine skill development and lasting achievement. The absence of purpose leaves us vulnerable to a myriad of distractions and discouragements. When the going gets tough, and it inevitably will without a strong why, the temptation to quit becomes overwhelming. The immediate discomfort of effort outweighs the distant, ill-defined promise of success. This is the fundamental flaw in many self-help approaches that focus solely on motivation techniques or productivity hacks. While these tools can be useful, they are ultimately superficial if they are not anchored in a deeper understanding of purpose. You can have all the productivity tools in the world, but if you are working on something that feels meaningless, you will still struggle to find sustained drive. The research by Kane and his team provides a powerful counterpoint to the idea that success is solely about innate talent or relentless effort. It underscores the critical role of meaning-making in human achievement. It suggests that our capacity for perseverance is not a fixed trait, but something that can be cultivated and strengthened by connecting our actions to a larger narrative. Consider the story of a dedicated scientist working on a cure for a rare disease. They face countless failed experiments, grant rejections, and long nights in the lab. Their work is arduous, often thankless and fraught with uncertainty. Yet, many such individuals continue to push forward with extraordinary tenacity. What fuels this unwavering commitment? It is the profound purpose of alleviating suffering, of bringing hope to those who have none, and of contributing to the advancement of human health. This purpose transcends the immediate frustrations and provides an inexhaustible source of resilience. The science is clear. Without a compelling purpose, our efforts can feel like shouting into the void. We might be making noise, but we are not creating resonance. And without resonance, sustained engagement becomes an uphill battle. This is the crux of the matter. You might be working incredibly hard, you might be ticking all the boxes, but if that underlying sense of meaning is absent, you are essentially running on fumes. The initial excitement of a new project, the thrill of a challenge, will inevitably fade, leaving you feeling drained and unfulfilled. The study by Kane and his team offers a beacon of hope for anyone who has ever felt their efforts falling short, for anyone who has questioned the value of their daily grind. It provides a scientific basis for understanding why some people achieve remarkable things while others, despite their best intentions, struggle to gain traction. It is not enough to simply set goals. It is not enough to simply work hard. We must understand the profound impact that purpose has on our ability to persevere. This is the hidden engine of achievement, the secret ingredient that fuels lasting success and deep fulfillment. The findings suggest that when individuals can articulate how their current actions contribute to a larger, meaningful vision, their engagement and persistence skyrocket. This connection provides an internal compass, guiding them through difficulties and reinforcing their commitment even when external motivators wane. It's the difference between being pushed by external forces and being pulled by an internal sense of direction. This research challenges the conventional wisdom that success is simply a matter of grit and determination. While those qualities are undoubtedly important, the study reveals that they are most potent when they are fueled by a deep and authentic sense of purpose. It's like having a powerful engine, but without the right fuel, it will sputter and eventually stall. The implications for how we approach our work, our education, and even our personal lives are profound. It suggests that we need to move beyond simply identifying tasks and towards understanding the underlying meaning and impact of those tasks. This shift in perspective can transform our relationship with effort and unlock a deeper wellspring of resilience. The scientists observed a fascinating phenomenon. Children who were encouraged to think about the impact of their actions on others we're more likely to persist in challenging tasks. This social dimension of purpose, the understanding that one's efforts can benefit not just oneself, but also the wider community, proved to be an incredibly powerful motivator. This research provides a vital mental framework for understanding why some individuals consistently achieve more and derive greater satisfaction from their endeavors. It moves beyond superficial motivation techniques and delves into the core of what drives human beings to excel. The study's authors noted that the ability to connect present actions to future, meaningful outcomes was a key differentiator. This foresight, this capacity to envision the impact of one's efforts, acts as a powerful anchor during times of doubt and difficulty. It's like having a clear destination on a map, making the journey, even the challenging parts, feel worthwhile. The impact of this research extends far beyond the classroom or laboratory. It offers a powerful insight into the human psyche and the fundamental drivers of achievement and fulfillment. By understanding the science behind purposeful perseverance, we can begin to cultivate these qualities in ourselves and in others, leading to more meaningful and successful lives. The researchers found that when children understood the why behind a task, their intrinsic motivation soared. This intrinsic drive, fueled by purpose, is far more sustainable and powerful than any external reward system. It's the difference between wanting to do something because you are forced to, and wanting to do it because it truly matters to you. This scientific exploration provides a compelling argument for prioritizing the cultivation of purpose. It suggests that by helping individuals connect their efforts to a larger, meaningful narrative, we can unlock their full potential for perseverance and achievement. It's an investment in a deeper, more resilient form of success. The study's findings offer a crucial insight. The narrative we tell ourselves about our efforts is as important as the effort itself. When that narrative is imbued with meaning and purpose, our capacity to overcome obstacles expands dramatically. It transforms challenges from insurmountable barriers into opportunities for growth and contribution. The scientific community's growing understanding of the role of purpose in perseverance is transforming how we think about achievement. It's moving us away from a purely performance-driven model towards one that recognizes the profound importance of meaning in sustaining effort and fostering well-being. This research provides a scientific underpinning for the intuitive understanding that meaningful work leads to greater dedication. It moves beyond anecdotal evidence and offers concrete data demonstrating the powerful link between purpose and sustained effort. The researchers noted that children who could articulate a clear purpose for their learning were less likely to be discouraged by mistakes. They viewed errors not as failures, but as opportunities to refine their understanding and get closer to their meaningful goal. This reframing of challenges is a direct consequence of having a strong purpose. The scientific findings suggest that the feeling of meaninglessness is not just an abstract philosophical problem. It has tangible consequences for our ability to achieve and to thrive. By understanding this connection, we can begin to address the root causes of demotivation and build a more resilient approach to life's challenges. The study's emphasis on the narrative of success is particularly compelling. It highlights that by consciously crafting stories about our endeavors that emphasize their meaning and impact, we can significantly bolster our own perseverance and inspire those around us. This is the power of purposeful storytelling. The scientific exploration into purposeful perseverance offers a profound shift in perspective. It suggests that true, enduring success is not merely about the accumulation of achievements, but about the deeply felt connection to why those achievements matter. This is the foundation upon which lasting impact is built. This research gives us a fantastic lens through which to view our own experiences. It's like discovering a hidden blueprint for resilience and fulfillment. Imagine a woman named Alina. She worked for a large corporation for 15 years, in a role that was technically demanding but felt utterly devoid of personal meaning for her. She was excellent at her job, consistently meeting targets and receiving positive feedback, yet each morning felt like a struggle to get out of bed. The work itself never resonated with her soul, leaving her feeling hollow despite her professional success. Alina had always been passionate about environmental conservation, spending her weekends volunteering at local wildlife sanctuaries and reading every book she could find on the subject. However, she saw this as a hobby, separate from her actual career, which she believed was purely about financial security and professional advancement. This internal division created a constant, low-grade hum of dissatisfaction. One particularly bleak Monday, after a weekend spent rehabilitating injured birds, Alina found herself staring at a spreadsheet, the numbers blurring into a meaningless gray haze. She realized with a jolt that her life felt like a carefully constructed facade, with no genuine foundation of purpose. This realization was terrifying, but also strangely liberating. She decided then and there to make a change. It wasn't a sudden, impulsive decision, but a culmination of years of quiet yearning. Alina began by taking online courses in environmental science and sustainable business practices during her evenings and weekends. This was a significant commitment, adding hours to her already busy life, but the knowledge she was gaining felt like nourishment for her spirit. Her employer offered a tuition reimbursement program, which she cautiously utilized, framing her studies as professional development that could eventually benefit the company. This was a strategic move, easing the financial burden and allowing her to pursue her passion without immediate drastic action. The tension for Alina was the fear of the unknown, the potential for failure, and the judgment of others if she were to leave her stable, well-paying job. As she delved deeper into her studies, Alina started identifying areas where her existing corporate skills could intersect with her passion for conservation. She realized that the project management and analytical abilities she had honed over 15 years were highly transferable to the nonprofit sector. She began to see her past experience not as a waste of time, but as a valuable foundation for her future. She started networking within environmental organizations, attending conferences and meeting people who were actively working in fields she admired. She discovered that many nonprofits struggled with the same operational challenges that she had been solving for years in the corporate world. This realization gave her a tangible sense of how she could contribute meaningfully. The turning point came when a local environmental advocacy group announced they were looking for a new operations manager. The role required strong organizational skills, budget management, and strategic planning, all areas where Alina excelled. The salary was significantly lower than her current position, and the work was in a field where she had no direct professional experience. This was the moment of truth. After weeks of deliberation, weighing the financial security against the overwhelming pull of purpose, Alina decided to apply. She poured her heart into her application, articulating how her corporate experience could be leveraged to amplify the organization's impact. She spoke with a newfound passion and conviction that impressed the hiring committee. She secured the position. The initial months were incredibly challenging. She had to learn new software, understand the unique dynamics of a nonprofit, and adapt to a much more hands-on, often less glamorous working environment. There were moments of doubt, where the comfort of her old life beckoned. But then, she would witness the direct impact of her work. She streamlined the organization's grant application process, freeing up valuable staff time to focus on their core mission. She implemented a more efficient donor management system, which led to a measurable increase in fundraising. Seeing these tangible results, knowing that her efforts were directly contributing to protecting local ecosystems, provided a profound sense of satisfaction. One specific achievement stands out. Alina spearheaded a campaign to protect a vital wetland area from development. She applied her project management skills to coordinate volunteers, manage public outreach, and navigate complex regulatory processes. Her strategic planning and persuasive communication, honed over years in a corporate boardroom, were instrumental in rallying community support and ultimately convincing local officials to deny the development permit. This victory was not just a professional success. It was a deeply personal triumph that solidified her belief in her chosen path. The measurable result was not just the saved wetland, but a significant increase in the organization's operational efficiency and fundraising capacity. Alina's salary was lower, but her overall sense of well-being and fulfillment skyrocketed. She was no longer just going through the motions. She was actively contributing to something she deeply believed in. Her colleagues noted a remarkable shift in her demeanor. She was more energetic, more engaged, and radiated a quiet confidence. Now let's explore the underlying mechanism at play here, the invisible engine that drives this transformation. Think of your brain as a magnificent, intricate city. Within this city, there are countless pathways like roads and highways connecting different districts. When you engage in tasks that lack purpose, it's like driving on poorly maintained, unlit back roads. The journey is slow, arduous, and you're constantly bumping into potholes, leading to frustration and a desire to turn back. However, when you connect with a sense of purpose, it's as if the city council suddenly decides to build a superhighway, complete with bright, efficient lighting and clear signage, directly connecting your current location to your desired destination. This superhighway isn't just about speed, it's about clarity and direction. Your brain's neural pathways, the very architecture of your thought processes, become more streamlined and efficient. This new superhighway allows information and motivation to flow effortlessly. It's like having a GPS system that not only tells you the fastest route, but also shows you beautiful scenery along the way, making the journey itself enjoyable. Your cognitive resources are no longer depleted by the struggle of navigating dark, winding roads. Instead, they are directed towards efficient progress, problem-solving, and innovation. This metaphor highlights how purpose acts as a powerful organizational principle for your brain. It doesn't just make you feel good. It fundamentally alters how your cognitive machinery operates, making you more effective and resilient. The energy that was once spent battling the friction of meaninglessness is now channeled into purposeful action, creating a virtuous cycle of motivation and achievement. The unexpected twist in this story, and in the broader concept of life purpose, is a paradox that often catches people by surprise. We tend to think of purpose as a grand, singular revelation, a lightning bolt from the heavens that reveals our one true calling. We often imagine it as something external, something we discover waiting for us out there in the world. However, the reality, as Alina's story illustrates and the science suggests, is that purpose is often something we actively construct. It's not so much found as it is built, brick by brick, through our choices and our commitment. The paradox is that the more we actively engage in building a purposeful life, the more the feeling of purpose solidifies and becomes a guiding force. It's a dynamic, iterative process, not a static destination. This challenges the common notion that you must first have a clear purpose before you can start working towards meaningful goals. Alina didn't have a fully formed career plan in environmental science when she started. She had a deep-seated passion and a willingness to explore. Her purpose evolved as she took action, as she learned, and as she applied her existing skills in new ways. The unanswered question from our earlier discussion was about that persistent feeling of meaninglessness. It's easy to feel stuck, to believe that if you don't know your grand purpose, then your efforts are inherently futile. But the twist here is that even small, deliberate steps taken in the direction of what feels meaningful can begin to create that sense of purpose. It's like planting a tiny seed in fertile ground. You might not see the full tree immediately, but the act of planting itself is a purposeful act. This means that if you're feeling adrift, the answer isn't necessarily to sit and wait for inspiration to strike. It's to start doing. It's to experiment, to explore, to connect with what sparks even a flicker of interest or a sense of contribution. These small acts of purposeful engagement are the building blocks of a larger, more resilient sense of meaning. They are the initial construction of that superhighway in your mind. The resolution for Elena wasn't finding a pre-existing purpose, but rather creating one through her actions and her willingness to embrace change. She didn't leave her old job for a perfect, predefined new one. She left to build something new, something that aligned with her evolving values and skills. The tension remains, of course, because life is always a work in progress. There will be new challenges, new uncertainties, and perhaps even moments of doubt. But now, Elena possesses a powerful internal compass. She understands that her capacity for perseverance is directly linked to the meaning she imbues in her actions. She has learned that purpose isn't a passive gift, but an active creation. The journey continues, and with it, the ongoing discovery and refinement of what truly matters. And for all of us listening, the invitation is to consider where we might begin to build our own superhighways, one purposeful step at a time, even when the grand destination remains a little hazy on the horizon. Consider the story of a man named David. David worked for years in a large corporation, managing logistics for a company that manufactured consumer goods. His days were filled with spreadsheets, endless meetings, and the constant pressure to optimize shipping routes and reduce costs. He was good at his job, efficient and reliable, but a gnawing emptiness had begun to settle in his chest. He felt like a cog in a vast, impersonal machine, his efforts contributing to a bottom line he barely understood or cared about. He would often stare out his office window, watching the world go by, wondering if this was all there was to his life's contribution. This feeling intensified over time, manifesting as a persistent fatigue and a lack of enthusiasm for even simple tasks. He found himself dreading Monday mornings, the weight of another week of perceived meaninglessness pressing down on him. His wife, Sarah, noticed the change, the way his eyes had lost their spark, the quiet resignation that had replaced his usual energetic demeanor. She encouraged him to explore new interests, to find something that ignited his passion, but David felt paralyzed. He didn't know what he was passionate about, and the thought of starting over felt overwhelming. One evening, while browsing online, David stumbled upon a documentary about urban farming initiatives in his city. He was captivated by the idea of people transforming neglected urban spaces into vibrant sources of fresh, healthy food. He saw images of community gardens bursting with life, of people working together, their faces alight with purpose as they nurtured plants from seed to harvest. Something within him stirred, a faint echo of a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. It was a flicker of curiosity, a nascent sense of possibility. He began researching urban farming more deeply, devouring articles and watching more documentaries. He learned about the challenges of growing food in urban environments, the importance of soil health, and the innovative techniques being used to overcome these hurdles. He discovered organizations dedicated to promoting urban agriculture, providing resources and support to aspiring farmers. The more he learned, the more he felt a pull, a sense of alignment with this emerging world. The turning point came when he saw an advertisement for a volunteer program at a local community garden. The garden was located in a part of the city that had been historically underserved, a place where access to fresh produce was limited. The description spoke of building community, fostering sustainability, and providing healthy food to those who needed it most. David felt a jolt, a visceral reaction that cut through his inertia. This was tangible, this was real, this felt important. He wrestled with the decision for several days. His corporate job provided financial security, a comfortable salary, and a predictable future. Volunteering at the community garden offered none of that. It was uncertain, demanding, and unpaid. He imagined the raised eyebrows of his colleagues, the potential judgment from his peers. He pictured the long hours, the physical labor, the inevitable setbacks that come with working with nature. Yet the thought of continuing his current path, of letting this flicker of possibility extinguish, felt even more daunting. Finally, he made a concrete decision. He approached his manager and requested to reduce his work hours to part-time. He explained he was pursuing a personal project. The response was a mixture of surprise and polite skepticism, but his manager ultimately agreed, perhaps sensing the shift in David's resolve. With his newfound free time, David committed to volunteering at the community garden 3 days a week. The initial days were a steep learning curve. He learned to distinguish weeds from seedlings, to understand the subtle language of wilting leaves and thirsty soil. He experienced the frustration of pests devouring his hard-won crops and the disappointment of a sudden frost damaging tender plants. His hands, accustomed to keyboards and pens, became calloused and stained with earth. There were moments of exhaustion when his back ached and his muscles screamed in protest. But alongside the challenges, something remarkable began to happen. He felt a sense of connection he hadn't experienced before, a deep satisfaction in the physical act of working the soil and seeing tangible results. He built relationships with other volunteers, a diverse group of people united by a shared commitment to the garden's mission. They shared stories, laughter, and the occasional communal meal made with ingredients harvested that very day. He began to understand the impact of his work, seeing the fresh produce being distributed to local families, knowing he was contributing to their well-being. The measurable result was not immediate financial gain, but a profound shift in his internal landscape. The gnawing emptiness began to recede, replaced by a growing sense of engagement and fulfillment. His energy levels improved, and he found himself looking forward to his days at the garden. He was no longer just managing logistics, he was cultivating life. He was no longer just a cog, he was a contributor. This transformation highlights a crucial mechanism at play, one that operates within our brains and our lived experiences. Think of your brain as a vast, interconnected network of pathways, like an intricate city map. When you engage in activities that feel meaningful, even if they are small at first, you are essentially laying down new roads on this map. Each purposeful action, each moment of genuine engagement, is like paving a new street or reinforcing an existing one. Initially, these roads might be narrow and winding, leading to undeveloped areas of your mental landscape. This is why the initial steps can feel uncertain or even insignificant. You might be venturing into unfamiliar territory, and the journey doesn't immediately lead to a grand destination. However, the more you traverse these new paths, the more they become well-worn and familiar. Your brain, in its remarkable adaptability, begins to strengthen these neural connections, making it easier and more natural to navigate them. This process is akin to building a superhighway where before there were only faint trails. The more you use these trails, the more they widen and become more efficient. The more you engage in activities that align with your values and contribute to something you believe in, the more robust these mental highways become. They lead you towards a sense of purpose, not as a sudden discovery, but as a consequence of consistent, directed effort. The unexpected twist in this journey, the paradox that often eludes us, is that the feeling of purpose doesn't necessarily precede the action. It often arises from the action itself. We tend to believe that we need to have a crystal clear understanding of our life's purpose before we can embark on meaningful work. This is like waiting for a fully detailed map of a new continent before you even set sail. But the reality is that the exploration, the journey itself, is what reveals the contours of that continent and helps you draw the map. David didn't wake up one morning with a grand epiphany about becoming an urban farmer. He felt a flicker of curiosity, a hint of something that resonated. He then took a small, deliberate step by volunteering. That step, and the subsequent steps he took in the garden, created the very sense of purpose he had been yearning for. The act of nurturing plants, of contributing to his community, of connecting with like-minded individuals. These actions built the superhighway in his mind, leading him towards a life that felt rich and meaningful. The unanswered question from earlier was about that persistent feeling of meaninglessness. If your work feels meaningless, does that mean your efforts are inherently futile? The twist here is a resounding no. Even when your current work feels devoid of purpose, the act of seeking or engaging in something that could be meaningful, however small, is itself a purposeful act. It's the initial laying of a new road. It's the first tentative step towards building that superhighway. David's story illustrates this beautifully. His corporate job might have felt meaningless, but his decision to explore urban farming, his commitment to volunteering, these were not futile acts. They were the seeds of his emergent purpose. They were the initial construction of a new mental framework, one that would eventually lead him to a more fulfilling career path. He eventually transitioned to a full-time role with an organization focused on sustainable food systems. His passion and expertise now aligned with his daily work. The key takeaway is that purpose isn't a static destination you arrive at. It's a dynamic process of creation. It's built through consistent, intentional engagement with activities that resonate with your values, even if those activities are initially small or uncertain. The feeling of meaninglessness often stems from a lack of this active construction. It's the absence of new roads being built, the stagnation of your mental landscape. So if you find yourself feeling adrift, if your current work feels like a monotonous loop with no discernible impact, remember David. Remember the flicker of curiosity, the small step of volunteering. Remember that the act of building, of exploring, of contributing, even in seemingly minor ways, is the very engine that generates a sense of purpose. The superhighway in your mind isn't built overnight. It's paved one purposeful step at a time. And sometimes, the most profound discoveries are made not by knowing the destination, but by bravely venturing into the unknown, with the willingness to build the path as you go. This ongoing construction is what allows us to navigate life's inevitable uncertainties with resilience and a growing sense of meaning. It's so easy to fall into common traps when we're searching for that elusive sense of purpose, isn't it? We often believe that purpose is something we either have or we don't, a fixed trait rather than a cultivated garden. This leads us to our first major mistake, the pursuit of perfection. We wait for the perfect idea, the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment to strike out on a path that feels deeply aligned with our soul. We envision a grand, flawless plan unfolding seamlessly, and anything less feels like a failure before we even begin. This paralyzing need for perfection prevents us from taking those crucial first steps, the very steps that would illuminate the path ahead. Imagine someone wanting to learn a new language, but they refuse to speak a single word until they have memorized every grammar rule and every vocabulary list perfectly. They would never utter a sentence, never truly learn the nuances of conversation, and the joy of connection would remain forever out of reach. This is what happens when we demand perfection in our purpose-seeking journey. We get stuck in the planning phase, endlessly refining an ideal that exists only in our minds while life passes us by. The truth is, purpose is often discovered through messy, imperfect action. It's found in the trial and error, in the learning that happens when we bravely stumble and then pick ourselves back up. Our second common mistake is mistaking external validation for internal fulfillment. We look for signs that our work is important or meaningful based on what others think, what titles we hold, or the accolades we receive. We might chase careers that are highly respected by society, or jobs that offer prestige and financial security, believing that these external markers will automatically imbue our lives with purpose. But what happens when that external validation fades, or when the applause stops? We can find ourselves feeling hollow even amidst apparent success. Think about someone who dedicates their life to a profession solely because it's deemed prestigious, like becoming a corporate lawyer or a doctor, without any genuine passion for the work itself. They might achieve significant outward success, earn a handsome salary, and be admired by their peers. However, if they privately feel uninspired, drained, and disconnected from their daily tasks, that external success offers little solace. The true measure of purpose lies within, in the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are contributing in a way that aligns with your deepest values and brings you genuine joy, regardless of external recognition. This internal compass is far more reliable than the shifting winds of public opinion or societal expectations. The third significant error is the belief that our purpose must be a single, grand, overarching mission. We feel immense pressure to identify one monumental calling that will define our entire existence. This often leads to a feeling of inadequacy if we haven't discovered this singular, life-altering purpose. It's like expecting to find a hidden treasure chest filled with a lifetime's worth of gold coins, rather than realizing that purpose is often built from many smaller, accumulated treasures. This singular focus can make us dismiss the value of smaller contributions, everyday acts of kindness, or the development of skills that might not seem overtly world-changing. It creates a black and white view of purpose, where if it isn't a monumental achievement, it's not worth pursuing. Consider an individual who believes their purpose must be to cure a disease or solve world hunger. If they haven't made significant progress in these monumental areas, they might feel like a failure. However, their daily work as a compassionate nurse, a dedicated teacher, a supportive friend, or even a skilled artisan who brings beauty into the world, are all incredibly purposeful endeavors. These smaller, consistent contributions weave a rich tapestry of meaning in their life and in the lives of others. They are all vital threads in the larger fabric of human existence, and each one holds its own unique significance. So, how do we break free from these limiting beliefs and start building a life that feels truly purposeful? It begins with a concrete, step-by-step approach, a mental framework that guides you forward even when the destination isn't entirely clear. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast, unexplored forest, and you want to find the most beautiful clearing within it. You don't stand there waiting for a map to appear. Instead, you choose a direction that feels right, perhaps towards a faint sound of running water or a patch of sunlight, and you take a single step, then another. You observe the trees, the plants, the terrain, and as you move, you learn. You adapt. You adjust your path based on what you discover. This is the essence of building purpose. The first concrete step is to cultivate curiosity. This is an active, engaged form of observation. It's not passive wondering. It's a deliberate turning of your attention towards things that spark even the slightest interest. Notice what captures your attention during your day. What articles do you click on? What conversations do you find yourself drawn into? What problems in the world make you pause and think, I wish someone would do something about that? Don't judge these curiosities, simply acknowledge them. For instance, if you find yourself repeatedly watching documentaries about marine life, or if you feel a pang of sadness when you see plastic waste on the beach, that's your curiosity nudging you. It's a whisper from your inner compass. This isn't about having a profound revelation. It's about noticing the subtle currents of your own inner landscape. The next step is to engage in small, low-stakes experimentation. Once you've identified a flicker of curiosity, take a tiny action related to it. If marine life fascinates you, don't immediately sign up for a deep-sea diving certification. Instead, perhaps visit an aquarium, borrow a book on ocean conservation from the library, or follow a marine biologist on social media. If the problem of plastic waste bothers you, start by consciously reducing your own plastic consumption, or find a local beach cleanup event to join for an hour. These experiments are not about commitment. They are about gathering information and experiencing the sensation of engaging with something that interests you. They are about testing the waters, not diving headfirst into the ocean. The goal here is to gather data about what truly resonates with you, what activities leave you feeling energized rather than depleted. Following that, the crucial step is to reflect on these experiments. After you've taken a small action, dedicate some quiet time to process the experience. How did it make you feel? Did it energize you? Did it drain you? Did it spark more questions, or did it feel like a dead end? This reflection is where the real learning happens. It's where you start to discern the patterns of what brings you a sense of engagement and what doesn't. For example, if you volunteered at an animal shelter and found yourself feeling overwhelmed by the emotional toll, that's valuable information. It doesn't mean you shouldn't work with animals, but perhaps a role focused on administrative support or fundraising would be a better fit for your energy levels and emotional capacity. This reflective practice builds your self-awareness and refines your understanding of what truly aligns with your inner self. Then, we move to the practice of intentional contribution. As you begin to identify areas that consistently spark your curiosity and energize you through experimentation, start looking for ways to contribute within those areas. This contribution doesn't need to be grand or revolutionary. It can be as simple as sharing an article you found insightful with a friend, offering to help a colleague with a task related to your growing interest, or dedicating a few hours a week to a cause you care about. The key is to consistently offer your time, skills, or energy towards something that feels meaningful to you. Think of it as planting seeds. You might not see the full bloom immediately, but each seed you plant increases the likelihood of a vibrant garden. This act of giving, of contributing, is a powerful generator of purpose. It shifts your focus from what you can get to what you can give, and in that exchange, purpose often blossoms. Finally, the art of iterative refinement is essential. Purpose is not a static destination. It's a continuous process of learning, adapting, and growing. As you continue to experiment, contribute, and reflect, your understanding of your purpose will evolve. You might discover new avenues you hadn't considered before, or find that your initial interests have deepened and broadened. Embrace this evolution. Be willing to adjust your course, to pivot when necessary, and to continually seek new ways to align your actions with your evolving sense of meaning. This ongoing refinement ensures that your life's work remains dynamic, relevant, and deeply fulfilling. It's about staying open to the unfolding journey, rather than rigidly adhering to an initial idea of what purpose should look like. Let me share a couple of quick examples to illustrate this in action. Consider Sarah, who felt stuck in a corporate marketing role that left her feeling drained and uninspired. Her curiosity was consistently drawn to artisanal crafts and handmade goods. She would spend hours browsing online marketplaces and visiting local craft fairs. She started by taking a beginner's pottery class, which she found incredibly grounding and enjoyable. This led her to experiment with selling a few of her handmade ceramic pieces at a local weekend market. The initial sales were modest, but the feedback she received and the sheer joy she experienced in the creative process were immense. She continued to refine her pottery skills, learned about online marketing for small businesses, and gradually built a small but loyal customer base. Within 2 years, Sarah was able to reduce her hours at her corporate job and dedicate more time to her pottery business. Her work now feels deeply meaningful, not just because she creates beautiful objects, but because she connects with people through her craft and supports a community of artisans. Her business, Earthwife Fire Creations, now generates a steady income, and she reports feeling a profound sense of fulfillment and purpose in her daily work. The measurable result here is not just financial independence, but a significant increase in her reported life satisfaction and a palpable sense of joy in her daily activities. Then there's Mark, a software engineer who felt his work lacked a human connection. He noticed his curiosity was piqued by stories of people overcoming significant challenges. He decided to experiment by volunteering as a mentor for a local youth program that paired professionals with teenagers facing difficult circumstances. His initial role involved simply offering guidance and support. He found that the conversations were challenging but incredibly rewarding. He learned to listen more deeply and to offer encouragement in a way that resonated with the young people. This led him to explore further training in mentorship and counseling. He began to integrate these skills into his professional life, becoming a more empathetic and effective leader within his team. He also started a blog where he shared his insights on personal resilience and overcoming adversity, which gained a significant following. Mark's contribution evolved from informal mentoring to actively developing workshops on leadership and personal growth for his company, and he now leads a community initiative focused on providing career guidance to underserved youth. The measurable impact is evident in the improved morale and productivity of his team, the positive feedback from the youth he mentors, and the tangible growth of his community initiative, which has helped over 50 young people secure internships or further education opportunities. So what is the single action you can take today, right now, to begin building your own superhighway of purpose? It's simple yet profound. Find one thing, just one small thing that has sparked your curiosity recently. It could be a topic you read about, a skill you've admired in someone else, or a problem you've noticed in your community. And then commit to spending just 15 minutes today exploring it further. This isn't about making a grand plan. It's about taking that initial, deliberate step. Open a new browser tab and research it, borrow a relevant book from the library. Reach out to someone who knows about it and ask a single question. Watch a short documentary on it. The duration is not important. The intentionality is. This small act of exploration is the laying of the very first brick on your path to a more purposeful life. It's the beginning of your own unique construction project. Remember, purpose isn't a treasure you find buried. It's a masterpiece you create brushstroke by brushstroke, day by day. It's built not from waiting for the perfect moment, but from bravely stepping into the present with curiosity and a willingness to build the path as you walk it. Embrace the process, trust your inner whispers, and begin building your superhighway today. The journey of 1,000 miles truly begins with a single, purposeful step. And that step, taken with intention, can lead you to places you never imagined.